Okay. It's been foretold by the elders have told us this for centuries.
Really?
That a great man is coming, and he's going to deliver the Lakers.
Hello, and welcome everyone here to the meeting of the GoldMinds. I am your host here, Alan. I'm the blunted one. This is another recap here for Game 6. I am here with my PGM brothers, Mr. KB, Zen, and I also have a special guest here tonight, which I very appreciate much of his time. He is from the writer from the Late Night Late Show, Mr. Evan Moore. How are you doing, guys? How are you guys doing tonight?
What up?
What's up, Alan? What's up,
What
Evan?
up?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, we appreciate you for coming on. So, Game 6 recap. We won. We're on to the Western Conference Finals.
We slayed the beast.
We have slayed the beast.
Slayed the dragon.
So, I do want to get the feel of the room. How's everyone feeling from Game 6 now that it's been kind of a day?
My chest was tight.
Can finally breathe.
Yep.
Yeah, I am just overjoyed that it is over and that we are going to the Western Conference Finals, man. Just overjoyed.
Right? Like, who would have ever thought really at the beginning of the season we would ever actually be here? Like, did anyone have any doubts, or like did y'all kind of predicted that we would actually get here?
I predicted we would get here. I said Lakers in 6.
Well, I mean, like from the beginning of the season, though. Like,
No. Yeah. Go ahead, Zim. My bad.
Oh no, man! Not. It's the fact that we went into this season like we were the only team in this season from day one, game one, that was desperate for a trade. Like, do we remember how all of October and November it was Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner? That's all we were talking about.
Yep.
So it was just to know that to go into a season knowing that we didn't have the team that we needed. That's enough of a sign to show that I didn't think we were going to get there.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, actually, I like had a little more faith in them. Preseason prediction, I predicted us to finish 6th, and but that was all contingent on a trade, because I expected us to have some sort of trade. I knew that we were going to do something, and we weren't going to just stay pat with this roster. So yeah, I predicted us to finish 6th, but at that time, I also kind of thought like we'd be lucky to win a playoff series with that team, even with the trade. So yeah, where we are now from where we were, it's night and day.
Yeah, because so at the beginning of the season, I had us predicted between 6 and 7, but I always I didn't think like maybe we're first round exit. Lucky if we got the second, but we're in the Western Conference Finals now, so like, it's still like I'm jumping for joy right now. Like, I never really thought that we would make it this far. Obviously, it was contingent of like a trade, and we needed the pieces, because if you look at from where we started, like our team was just kind of all over the place as far as like the pieces that we had. It wasn't like it was all redundant skill sets. Like, we didn't have any spacing on the floor. Everyone was kind of just everyone would just drive to the basket, or like we didn't have any spacing. Like, that was the main thing, is we had no spacing around LeBron or AD. So
too many short guards.
Yeah, and too many short guards, because that's what we were all talking about in the beginning of the season. Like, we got the midgets out there. So You know,
Yep.
like what are we doing here? And then sure enough, trade deadline comes and Rob makes probably the trade the probably the I mean I could say he'd be the executive of the year from making that trade, and he brought us the pieces that we needed, and look where we're at now. So like
He pulled
um
off a heist.
yeah, we pulled off
Yeah.
a heist for sure,
Yeah. I
and
mean, masterclass in asset management too.
oh for sure, for sure. All right, guys. Well, so game. Let's get back to game 6. The war. There's actually we'll do the whole series as a general. What are your guys' like biggest takeaway from the Warriors series? Like, what was the biggest takeaway from the series? We can start with Evan.
For me, biggest takeaway for me, it's still with this team. It's defense and depth. Like, that's what this trade really did for us. Like, we were sold, Darvin Ham being a defensive coach when we signed him, and with the roster that he was given, it was pretty damn hard for him to build a defensive team, because that team, especially with all the short guards, like not having that length on the court really hurt our defense, I feel like. So yeah, it's just having this defense and this depth, it just gives me so much more faith. Like, we don't have to rely on LeBron to be amazing every night. It doesn't have to always be AD being incredible. Like, they can be average and this team can still win. And that's, for me, so that's going to be the biggest takeaway and how this team has changed, is the depth and defense.
Yep, I completely agree. KB, what about you, brother?
Man, let me just say, the Warriors are one hell of a team. I will be the first to say they are one hell of a team, well coached. Steve Kerr's been doing it for years. He comes from the the Zen Master. He comes from the Zen Master. If you guys don't know who that is, look that up. Phil Jackson, great coach. Learned from Tex Winners. Look, when it comes to the Dubs, they ran flawless offense, and they have the best shooters in NBA history. So, with that, the Lakers had one hell of an adjustment to make, game in and game out, because Steve Kerr just kept switching. I don't know what. It was a smart move by him, but it was also annoying because he just kept switching like short guard or small forward to come into the lineup. So, yeah, it was one hell of a series. All I can say is I'm glad that we are done with them, and onward to Denver.
You know, what stood out to me for this series is that, the Warriors. Look, you have the greatest shooter of all time. You have then that's in Steph Curry. Then you have Klay Thompson, who I don't think there's ever been a player that has a higher heat index than him in this league. And so we know how historically great, how they have set the bar as the greatest shooting backcourt ever. And we found a way for it not to matter. You look at game 1. That was shit. I call that the fucking evil game. 666. Steph, Clay, Poole. They all scored 6 3-pointers. Didn't matter. They lost. Um, I look at game 4. Steph, he has the ball. He needs to make a 3. AD locks him down. He can't do anything. For 2 shots, not 1, but 2 damn shots, AD locks him down. Didn't matter. Then you look at game 6, what we're expecting. Clay. That's what the Warriors told us. Game 6 Clay, game 6 Clay. Now I have to nickname him game 8 Clay
Oh
because
no.
he scored only 8 points. And he was horrific. So the thing is, the thing that makes them so great, we found a way, better or for worse, for it not to matter. You think a team, any player, if you say, hey, you're going to have a playoff game where 3 players are going to score 6 3-pointers, We remember a time when a guy like Kenny Smith in '95 scored 7, and that was the record. Right? That was such a huge thing. I know the times have changed, but you tell any player, any team that hey, you're gonna have 3 players that's gonna score 6 3-pointers on the team. Any coach will think they gotta win. They still lost. So that was my biggest takeaway. That how much we nullified the shooting.
Yep. Yep. And I would agree with you as well on that. I would take bits and pieces of what Evan said and what Zen was saying is that how we nullified probably the greatest backcourt of shooting in the NBA history, and the fact that we were just able to dominate like on the defensive end. Like it's when you really sit there and look, like there's a lot of things that they don't show like on the stats. Like AD was just everywhere, hand changing shots, hand here, hand there, steals there, blocks there. Like this series, I don't think he had like a lot of blocks, but he was there, like just a hand everywhere, altering shots, and not just him, like the whole entire team in general. Like there's game 4, we make an in-game adjustment and we put Lonnie Walker out there, and Lonnie Walker just goes ballistic in the fourth quarter. Like we haven't seen that since Kobe dropped 15 points in the fourth quarter. Like gotta give credit to that because we don't win that game without Lonnie. So gotta give it props to Ham too. Like that's another thing that like I take away from this series is his in he a lot of people might not agree with me, but I think there was a lot of in-game adjustments that he was doing that probably goes unnoticed, and that's like little things like taking away minutes from Dennis, taking putting Lonnie out there, trying Rui out there, seeing that it doesn't work. So all right, cool. Having that short lease on players that are just not hitting. You know, D'Lo. You didn't. I think there was a game or two that D'Lo wasn't hitting right, and he didn't play like fourth quarters, and we had Dennis out there, or we had who else? I think that game 4 again, it was Lonnie. So just bits and pieces from what Zen was saying, from what Evan's saying. I would say Darvin Ham's in-game adjustments and next game adjustments. Like that's what I take away from this series is Darvin Ham actually might be a good coach after all. So, because I know the beginning of the season, we were like and a lot of Laker fans, including myself, were like, Darvin Ham sucks. Um, I don't know if I think that anymore. So next, so that goes on to the next thing. Into my next segment here is how was it? Was it the players? Is it the coaching? Was it all of it combined? How is it that we were able to dominate? And Zen, you can go ahead and take off this one. What are your thoughts? Well, how do you think we were able to dominate this series?
Well, we had the best player on the court, Anthony Davis. He was the best player, which
Okay.
that says a lot about him. When you're on the floor, when you're sharing the same court with LeBron James, Steph Curry, who you know Warrior fans were telling us if he gets 5, it's over. It's just him and Mike. He gets 5, it's just him and Mike. I believe Kendrick Perkins said the same thing. If he gets 5, it's just him and Mike. Anthony Davis was the best player on the court, um, and defensively, he shut down the Warriors in the interior. Um, he was a force, even when he wasn't scoring. You know, more than 25 points. He averaged what 25 for the series. Um, he was a force. He was a force to be reckoned with. He altered the amount of shots that he altered. Now in the Memphis series, he put on a block party. he was just as effective in this series. He didn't have as many blocks, but he altered a lot of shots. The amount of layups, especially in Game 6, the amount of layups that you saw Steph Curry miss. Steph is regarded as the greatest shooter ever, which he is, but he's also a tremendous finisher at the rim. Steph was missing a lot of layups. And that's because of the pressure from AD. So we were able to dominate off of the strengths of our best player. And guess what? The games that we lost a lot of it had to do when the Warriors pulled them out of the paint. And I know we're going to get to what they were able to exploit next, but it's Anthony Davis. I've been critical of him, but
Yes, you
critical
have.
of him. I've shitted on him. I've made skits. I've had parodies. All of it. I've mocked him. But you know what? He played. He played like a top 75 player in his prime, and he also played like a player that, when it comes to Giannis, when it comes to Embiid, when it comes to Joker, that's no longer a three-man conversation. AD is there, right there in the mix. It's not the three of them on one tier and then AD right below him. No, AD is right there with them. And he's probably making an argument why he could be just a notch above them. But, that's to be determined. But yeah, he's right on par with those guys. Those are his contemporaries.
Are you going to submit that apology form yet?
We got 8 games left.
Okay.
All right.
Job's not finished.
Job's not okay.
Job's not finished.
Evan, what do you think, man? How are we able to dominate this series?
Again, it's defense and rim protection, and it was mostly AD, because I feel like AD is like 70% of our defense, but Braun, his rim protection, like he brought it up to another level in this series. I feel like because he was 1.2 blocks per game in this series, and I mean there were some chase downs that he had that were just, I mean, incredible that he's still doing this at 38. So like, yeah, I feel like between the two of them, like they absolutely dominated the paint both offensively and defensively, and that makes everything so much easier for everybody else. And that's also why Austin was able to thrive, and D'Lo had a nice game that here and there, and yeah. So it's that defense and that rim protection, and that's what's giving me more and more confidence with this team all the time. Is if we can continue to play like this, I don't see who beats us 4 times. It's not going to be easy.
It's not. It's not going to be easy. KB, what you got, brother? How do you think we were able to dominate this series?
I'll say this, and a lot of people agree with me because we do spaces. If you guys don't know, so definitely tune into Purple and Gold Minds on Twitter. In the space, I had to go back and look at all the games we won, and in all the games we won, when D'Lo scores over 40, not 40, when D'Lo scores over 15 points per game, we are undefeated. So with those facts, literally, D'Lo is the X factor, I believe, for this team. He gets us flowing. The way he runs, the way he handles the ball as the point guard leading the team, lets LeBron and AD roam free. So when AD scores over 15 points, I believe that is how we were able to dominate. And plus, I can't leave out, AD was a freaking monster.
Okay. I agree with everyone on how we were able to dominate with AD being the best player on the court, because that's what it would take for us to win the series, is AD being the best player on the court, and that's technically what happened. I'm going to disagree with KB about D'Angelo Russell being the X factor, and I'm going to say Austin Reeves is actually the X factor. And why do I say that? Well, you look at his stats for this series. He was 41% from the field, and he also shot 45% from 3-point line.
All right.
minutes per game. He was playing about 33 minutes, and he was averaging 14 points a game. And that's on a consistent basis. He maybe had like one game or maybe two that he didn't produce those points. But I think Austin Reeves was actually the X factor for the series. And is that why we were so dominant? No, I would say it would have to be the whole bench entirely. Like that stay ready group. If you kind of go back and look at like the Warriors, Jordan Poole didn't really have a good series. Moody didn't really have that great of a series. Like they didn't have like a bench player that really made an impact in any of the games, and we had a couple of them. So I think our bench itself is why we were able to dominate this series as well. Just kind of throw that in there. And Zen, I'm actually gonna let you take this one off because you kind of already brought it up. Is what was one of the weaknesses, or not one, but what was the weakness of ours that the Warriors actually did exploit?
Well, a couple of things. So first, hey, I listened to Warrior fans before Game 2 talk about how they were going to pull AD out and to open up the lane, and by pulling him out, it will free all of the roamers to go right to the rim. That's exactly what they did. Game 2 was like a parting of the Red Sea, and it was so it's something that if the Warrior fans can see it, then it's something that we have to deal with. Now the problem is pulling AD out. AD didn't have that second interior defender to have his back. Um, Vando had a horrible series.
Yes.
Like he had a horrible series. I've been saying this. I guess the character is the nickname was Hot Hands, but the kid that played the wide receiver in the movie Little Giants that couldn't catch for shit. That's who Vando grew up to be. He's horrific on the defensive end. Everyone knows it's to the point where um you can double AD, you can double LeBron, you can double whoever because Vando's not going to give you anything on the offensive end. If you look at some of his stat lines throughout the series, it's just for a starting player in any series, it's like, okay, where's his contribution? Yeah, he did a decent job running around screens, but it just seemed like he was more of a headache. It it's not a surprise that he was pulled out of the starting lineup in in game 6. We'll see. But yeah, AD didn't there were times when AD didn't have that other player who was going to back him up defensively. We know Reeves is not the greatest defender. We know D'Lo is not the greatest defender. LeBron is gonna, he is. He can be a little funny on defense. That's the best way I'm going to say it. He can be a little funny on defense. So Vando was supposed to be the guy to back up AD, and he did not. And the Warriors took advantage of it.
Was that the only exploit that you noticed, or
Those were the main ones. I guess the the other stuff would be the Warriors are a team that because of the speed of because of how fast they play and also how well they shoot the three ball. There were a lot of careless turnovers. Um, a lot of careless turnovers that they took advantage of. You cannot do that against a team with the Warriors, especially against them. So that would be the other thing that I would say.
okay? KB, what about you? Is there any exploits that you noticed that maybe Zen didn't point out, or that maybe we're missing, or that
Exploits.
you saw?
Yeah. For weaknesses they got from us, they definitely made us realize that we are not that good of a shooting team. And if we don't stick to what we're good at, we will lose. When they try to make us into a shooting team for the games that we lost in blowouts against them, we just started settling for jump shots when we know we're a team that roams inside the paint and gets majority of our points from inside the paint. Also, they made us realize that we're very bad at communicating defensively at times. And when it comes to us not being aware of our backdoor cuts that we literally don't communicate on, or shall I say, and I'm not afraid to say because, I don't know why Zen's giving him grief just because he's known as the king. LeBron James, he gets very lazy on defense at times when he's gassed. Evan, you made a great observation. The man is 38. He's 38. He can't get everywhere anymore. He can't do everything, which is good because he has a team that actually can support him when he's on and off the court. Um, so that's what I kind of realized, Alan. When it comes down to it, um, the funny thing about it is when 80 sits down, we can't afford for LeBron to miss defensive communications and having defensive awareness. So that's what I think. Shooting and defensive awareness was our weaknesses going against the Ducks.
I agree. What about you, Evan?
Well, for me, like as good as this defense has gotten, I feel like there's still one weakness with this defense, and it's our perimeter defense. We still have some issues chasing guys, and we still have some issues just closing out with guys, and that's you know that was what scared me going to this, and we kind of we did get a little bit lucky in the fact that especially in last night's game that they did not have a good shooting night because our defense was better last night, but as deadly as they are with shooting, like that's still an issue with this team is that perimeter defense is a problem. And then the other issue that they exploited every single game was that every time AD went out, they were just making a conga line to the rim, and there was just no rim protection when AD isn't there. Like I was saying, I feel like he's 70% of our offense. So our defense. So when he's not there, like it's just it's glaring. It's absolutely glaring. So, our lack of a decent backup center is also our other weakness in my opinion. And they did exploit both of those.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, it's all everything that you guys said, and then I've noticed too that the high pick and roll is something that we're really bad at defending with the back cut. Because if you notice that GP2, when they finally inserted him into the lineup, he was living in that back cut and kept getting into the paint. I was like, it was so irritating. It's like, dude, like, how are you guys gonna miss that assignment? It's super simple. Like, we just AD doesn't have, he doesn't have that support in that back line with that back cut. So that high pick and roll did definitely like kind of killed us. I mean, luckily we didn't like die by it, but and it's what you said too, like and I don't that perimeter defense is I don't think that's necessarily like our I think that's a coaching thing because on Ham's philosophy, if you look at like the Bucks, the prior when Ham was part of that, when he was part of the defense on the coaching on for the Bucks on their championship run, they were probably one of the worst defensive teams on the perimeter. So I think that's a philosophy thing that Ham has. So hopefully he kind of starts to pick it up next season. Um, there's some advanced stats that Tim and Sean talked about earlier in the season when we finally got him and talking about his philosophy on the perimeters, and like it's not the first thing on his agenda like that he wants to take care of. It's like paint and some other stuff, but I'm glad that we were able to kind of defend it. But I mean the Warriors just had I mean they had some pretty bad shooting nights, so I mean we were able to kind of close out on them, but it's definitely the perimeter defense and that high pick and roll, I think, is what the Warriors exploited. And we don't have a backup big. Like, I don't, for the love of me, I don't understand why we can't get Wenyan out there for a couple minutes to kind of give AD some rest, because coming into this next series,
Wenyan's undersized. Like
yeah,
where would you? He's undersized.
All man,
He's
not big man.
underweight. Draymond would have ate him up.
yeah, I get it, I understand, but gotta give the guy rest. Like I mean, even if it's for some garbage minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, like at the end of each quarter or something like that. Like those 1 or 2 minutes, I don't think is going to be that detrimental to the team. You know what I mean? Like I get that Wenyan is not, he's underweight and he's not big enough, but like when you really sit there and look at it, it's like, okay, could we have given AD maybe a couple extra minutes of rest, or could Tristan maybe have done something for a minute? Because when you go into, like, we'll get into it into the Denver series, but we're gonna need AD to get some rest in that series, because we're gonna need him on that court and healthy. And that's kind of the one thing that maybe worries me about the Denver series is AD's minutes, and how because they're a bigger team than Warriors. So on to my next segment here. Who do you guys have as the MVP of this series?
Oh, this is easy. Let me know who you going first.
Go ahead, KB.
That's
You got the
AD.
floor.
That's AD.
AD.
The reason why is because without him, we don't win this series. Without him, we don't win any series. LeBron James is not who he used to be, but he doesn't have to be. With AD, he unlocks just another kind of gear for us on defense. And with him, he's just a beast, man. I can't say it more.
Zen, do you have another MVP for the series, or are you gonna?
I'm gonna say Anthony Davis, but I'm gonna say this. I think earlier in the season, I would say LeBron was the better player on the team. But we got to a point now that was always the long term plan of AD being here, that at some point he was going to be the 1A player on this team. Look, I'm not gonna hype up AD just to I'm not gonna like bring down LeBron to hype up AD, but I'm gonna say this. At this point, the only thing LeBron can ever do is score the most points. And what I mean by that is if we say, okay, well, LeBron, what are you going to do tonight? Better than AD. Okay, well, I'll score the most points. That's all. That's the only thing he can do. He's not going to get the most rebounds. He's not going to. Will he probably get the most assists? Maybe. I doubt it at this point, and maybe just because he plays off ball so much. But he's not going to play the best defense. So with AD, he has so many responsibilities that is at a point where, you know what, because he's responsible for so much and he's doing it so well, um, yeah, he's the best player on the team. Um, so and he's not a defensive liability, because if LeBron scores the most points, I'm very sure he's also giving up the most points on defense. So it's almost like, okay, what's your gross, what's your net? AD is the best player on this team and MVP for real. He altered so many shots. He shut down Steph at the end of Game 4. He, just tremendous lockdown defender. So yeah, Anthony Marshawn Davis Jr.
Evan?
Yeah, well, gonna go with consensus here because, obvious choice. It's AD. He, like I said, he is that defense, and it's glaring when he's not there. So, to me, he is the perfect, definition of an MVP. Because without him, it's obvious how much this team drops off. I think you can take any other player off this team, and there's going to be a drop off, but AD is the biggest drop off if you take him off this team.
Yep. We have unanimous
I have an
decision here.
honorable mention I want to throw out.
I have honorable
Honorable
mention too.
mention.
Cool.
I hope you allow it. Darvin Ham.
Oh, you fucker, dude! I was about to say that.
Nice.
Well, okay, you give your reason, I'll give mine. What's your
No,
reason
you
for
go. Go
Darvin
ahead.
Ham?
Go ahead. No, you said it. You go ahead. You
Okay.
go first.
My honorable mention is Darvin Ham
Ladies
for
first.
this reason. Look, we've been shitting on him. Look, no, I'm sorry. You guys have been
No,
shitting.
no. Hey, not you guys. Not
No,
you guys.
you guys.
I have not shit on Darvin Ham.
Look,
Don't do that.
I'll admit to it, man. I was
Okay.
giving him shit the beginning of this year because he
Well,
doesn't.
I was
He
not.
a good coach.
Allen and a lot of Laker Nation been
Thank
shitting
you.
on Darvin Ham. I would consistently said, look, Darvin Ham is a chef. He can only cook with the ingredients that you give him. You give him better ingredients, he's going to cook better. But look, before Game 6, when they announced that change in the starting lineup, replacing Vandal with Schroeder, we were watching. We were watching the Knicks game. I was asking Evan, I'm like, and several others. I don't see it. I'm trying to understand the reason of him making this change. I didn't see it. And look, from before the Rob Pelinka pulled off the heist and was talking about he's in love with these short midget guards, and that included Schroeder. He went back to Schroeder, and he's been trusting Schroeder. And a lot of times when a lot of us would have pulled the trigger or yanked him and put him on the bench, Schroeder showed up in a crucial game 6 that we had to win. He went back to his most trusted tool, Schroeder. And Schroeder showed up. Schroeder showed up big. Tongue twister. Schroeder showed up big. In game 6 before, obviously he got suspended. I mean, not suspended, ejected. But Darvin Ham, he made that adjustment. He's been a steady, calming force, and he's been consistent. He's been even keel. Got to give it to Darvin Ham.
Yep. Got to give it to Darvin Ham, and it's just his adjustments that he's been making in game and next game. That's why I would give him an honorable mention. And he's been having a shorter leash than a lot of these players that are if they're not hitting, like, we're gonna pull you out. And not only that, he just mastered the master right now. So he's got to be an honorable mention for me. All right, guys, we are reaching kind of towards the end, and we're reaching to the next series of the Western Conference Finals. We are going to Denver for Game 1. Thoughts and predictions for the Denver series. Who wants to take the floor? Go ahead and just say your piece.
Look, I respect Denver, number 1 team in the West. Okay, they got the number 1 seed. They have home court advantage. Joker could have been a 3-time MVP this season. Okay, he didn't win it, but hey, he finished second. He could have won it. They're a good team, but I will say it does feel a little anticlimactic after just going through what we went through with the Warriors. I think we win this series. I think we win in 6. I don't see us winning Game 1. I think there's going to be that game to get used to the altitude. And look, we're recording this Saturday night, day before Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. But we're one night removed from the us finishing the Warriors. If it's left up to me, the team will already be flying. Will be on their way to Colorado. More than likely, they're probably going to head out there tomorrow. they need to spend as much time in Colorado, get used to the altitude, be in Denver for as long as possible. So before Tuesday, I think game one. I think game one will be tough. I think it will be a 6-game series, but I have us winning.
Evan?
Yeah. I am a little concerned. I'm not concerned as much as I was going into the Warriors series because I do have respect for Denver. They are the number one seed, but this season with the West also, like when I've looked at the West this season, like Denver, they are the number one seed, but they only won, I believe, 52 games, and I've always felt like they were never really an A of a team. I always felt like that was a B plus team. So, I they match up with us a little bit better with the Warriors, because they've got a lot more size and length. But I think it's still going to be, a 6-game series, and I think we want it to be a 6-game series just because we don't have home court advantage. And I kind of agree with Zen that it's going to be harder to get that game one just because of the altitude. But I think we'll still split. So I think we'll get game two and kind of keep a similar kind of pattern here of still winning at home, because I think that's one of the biggest advantages we've got right now is that not only are we playing good at home, but I think that the crowd and the fact that we're so starved because we have not had a real full playoff game. This is the first full playoff series since 2010 for the Lakers. So I feel like Lakers fans are hungry and rabid for this too. And so I think we're going to still be able to hold home court down, but yeah, it's still going to take at least 6 and it might take 7, but I'm not as worried if we have to take a game 7 in Denver. I think we can do it. Whereas I was a little more concerned about it if we had to do it in Chase Center. I think that if it does come down to that, I have a little more faith that we can pull off a game 7 in Denver, but I think we'll win it in 6.
KB.
Sir. All right. So one thing I'm not going to do, I can't discredit them. They're number one. We've all acknowledged that.
Oh, we might have lost KB.
Oh no.
You give it one more second.
I'm alive.
There you are.
All right. So I have to acknowledge number one, first and foremost. They're they're the best team in the West. When it comes down to it, they got Joker, 2-time MVP. He knows how to handle the ball night. Big offensive rate. Defensively, that's his weakness. But if we play together as a team, I can see the Lakers winning in 5 or in 6. The thing that we were all saying, our perimeter defense is what we lack. And if we are looking at their stats overall, they were the second team in the NBA to be very efficient from 3. They're ranked second. So with that, we have to lock up. And so Zen, you said that Vanderbilt was the worst player in the series in the last series against the Dubs. He will be the best defensive player, or second best, excuse me, behind AD. This is his type of series because he matches up with these wings so well, and not that many people can get by him. Because the one thing that I kind of like about Vando is he can stick with you if you think you have a package when it comes to dribbling. But the one thing that MPJ does not have is he can't dribble. He can't go anywhere besides shoot the ball. Spot up shooter. When he puts the ball on the floor, he's really, really weak, upper body wise. So I think that's going to be a big advantage for us. Another thing that I didn't talk about was Rui Hachimura. Nobody can stick with him on the post. So
Did we lose him again?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, he was saying that no one can stick with Rui Hachimura on the post.
Yeah.
So
we lost
he
him.
looks at. I'm assuming he looks at that as a good thing. But
hold on, what'd you say? What?
we go ahead, continue what you're saying.
Yeah, Rui
I was
Hachimura.
saying
We just lost you
Rui
for a second.
Hachi. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say. I know. I keep glitching. Rui Hachimura is another person that's going to be a advantage for us and a disadvantage to the Nuggets. Nobody on that team can stick with him. If you put Aaron Gordon on him, then you're going to let LeBron go to work on whoever else is going to be smaller. If you put Jeff Green on him, Jeff Green is, let's put it as we should say, he's old. He was back with KD when they were balling with the Thunder in like oh 08, I think. So he's not sticking with Rui. So I think that's where I'm kind of going with it when it comes to us. We have a lot of advantages, but our perimeter defense and us being lazy on the defensive end, that's where our weakness is, and we can't afford that.
And he was saying that that's where our defensive weaknesses is. And yeah, so Jeff Green is old as shit, even though LeBron is older. So Jeff Green has been there so long that multiple decades have gone by. So I'm pretty sure that's exactly what KB would be saying right now if his sound wasn't glitching.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's okay.
exactly.
It happens.
It happens. Lakers in 6. I think we match up really, really, really well with Denver. If you kind of look at it at their center at the 5, they have kind of the same parallel that we have, which is we don't really have a backup center for AD, and they don't really have a backup center for Jokic. So it's really going to be the battle of the 5s. I think our bench is deeper than what they have to offer. I mean, you look at their bench, and I don't know like half of these players except for
Bruce Brown.
Ish Smith, Reggie Jackson, and lo and behold, Thomas Bryant. Like you got Thomas Bryant, DeAndre Jordan, like Bruce Brown, like they don't really have a bench. Our bench is deeper than what they have, so I think it's gonna really come down to like our bench players to see the stay ready group, as we call it. It's gonna boil down to them coming and showing up and seeing that like, hey, like we are here and we're ready to ball. Like we gonna like that's really gonna boil down to is like, can we win the non-AD minutes, and can we win the non-Jokic minutes? And how are they gonna like factor that into like the rotation? Is AD gonna be out there when Jokic is not out there? Are they gonna stagger the minutes with Jokic? Because I think that's gonna be kind of the key for us to win. Like even if we're in Denver or at home, because it's really gonna just predicate like on those minutes of with Jokic not on the floor and AD not being on the floor, and our bench, because I think again we have a better bench than they have. So I'm gonna say Lakers in 6. I think, and I'm gonna be the black sheep of the group, but I'm gonna say we do to actually take game 1 and we lose game 2.
I can't believe I missed that. Yeah, Zen. What I don't know what is your fixation on us losing game 1 if
No,
it's due to the
it makes
elevation.
sense.
Altitude,
It's the altitude.
If
The
it's
altitude.
if it's altitude, I think we'll still win. The reason
I still
why
think
is
we win. I
yeah,
think
it's
they're there in Denver
because
already.
exactly. I think they're already there in Denver. Plus, I think it's the
LeBron knows,
minutes with
bro.
yeah, it's with the minutes without Joker. It's going to be their trouble.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be our trouble too because AD is not gonna be on the floor if they're
Oh,
gonna like stagger the minutes with
r-
Jokic. So
right. And I also think this is a series for Wenyon Gabriel as well. You might say he's undersized, Zen, but height, nothing beats height, bro.
I think it's
Trying to
gonna
tell
be
you.
a Vando thing more than anything.
What I'm saying, when AD goes out, they're going to put. They're going to bring in Winyon. I think so. Either Winyon or Mo Bamba. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. Trying to tell you.
I don't know,
I wouldn't be
man.
surprised if we get a Tristan Thompson sighting personally.
There you
Yeah,
go. See what I
yeah.
mean? See what I mean? See?
I'll say this:
I don't think we're
Thomas
getting Mo
Bryant is going to
Bamba.
be part of this series.
Oh, he.
Oh
They're
my God!
bringing
I
him
would
out. They
bring
are
that.
bringing. This is why they brought in Thomas Bryant.
Look.
Thomas, yeah.
No, I'm saying, look, this is where
I
Evan
could see that. I could
Evan-
see that. I could see
Evan
it.
knows where I'm going with this. I was looking forward to going against Thomas Bryant ever since he said he was looking for a better opportunity, and he ain't got no minutes on the floor since he's been there.
And
So,
who would guard Thomas Bryant?
Who would guard Thomas Bryant? Is that a trick question?
I mean, you can throw a Winion on him.
I can literally throw a Winion or what's it called. I could even throw a Rui Hachimura on Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant isn't going anywhere dribbling the ball. You understand this, right, Zen?
Okay.
No, I'm just saying. Have you seen him play?
Size, I would put Tristan in there personally.
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw Tristan on
Yes,
on Thomas.
exactly. You're gonna see Tristan, maybe Bamba.
But Bamba hasn't been cleared, so we don't even like.
That's the interesting thing about Mo is like we don't even know if he's fully
we don't know
healthy
if he's healthy.
Yet.
So I know that's a lot of. Well, I know a lot of people are like, well, this is a Mo Bamba series. We need Mo Bamba, but he's still technically injured, and we don't know where he's at, like with his ankle. So what was it? Wasn't his Achilles, right?
Man,
ankle. It was he's still having irritation from the ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Look, the Lakers, the amount of people that are gonna get rings.
It's crazy.
If we win this title, the amount of players that's gonna get rings that don't deserve it, it has to be an all-time high for any team ever, and that includes Bamba, that includes Bryant. Oh man.
The thing I just can't stand, Zen.
Tristan Thompson.
No, the thing I can't stand.
Matt
Ryan. The thing I can't stand when it comes to that.
Hey, you know what, Matt? I'm gonna say this. Matt Ryan actually, I'm gonna give him the ring because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the game on the Pelicans.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was that
Pelicans
shot.
game was really important. That's very
Well, I'll say this.
important.
The reason why I don't want Patrick Beverly to get a ring is because he's gonna be like, without me, they wouldn't be where they're at right now.
No, I mean, technically, he's not lying because we needed to trade him.
I just don't like to hear him talk, bro. I'm sorry. I'm a big Patrick Beverly fan, but when he's with us, not against us. I'll say that.
Yeah. I don't want to hear the stuff from him too. Like he's the one that like I'm glad that they came out and they said that this week because like that's one of the things I've always appreciated about the Lakers. They've always been a classy organization, and that's the right thing to do. I feel like. But like, yeah, there is part of me that like, like, can we just maybe not give it to Pat? But but it is the classy and right thing to do, So I'm glad we're doing it. If we get there, of course.
So this might be a nasty question, but I'm gonna ask it. Do y'all think Westbrook deserves it?
Oh my God.
I do because we don't have this team without that trade. So
that's true.
That's the best way to put it. As well as that he was a part of this team for a year and a half. And however you feel about him, he was a big part of this team. So I'm okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm okay.
He showed up to work. We can never question his effort.
Yep.
But there's a questionable thing we can say when it comes to that. Once he it was confirmed he was getting benched, I do believe he faked that injury. I'm not even gonna lie. I believe that was a pride thing.
The hamstring.
That bullshit hamstring.
And I'm not disputing
bullshit.
that. I'm not disputing that at all. I just think that with him, I would just be. It's not that if he would deserve it or not. I would just be surprised if he would accept it.
That's where I'm at.
Me too. I feel like Russ is going to be a little too prideful and be like, no, I didn't know that.
Especially after the whole vampire in the locker room crap. I would be surprised if he accepted.
Bro, I didn't like that. I did not like that.
Yeah,
when they said vampire in the locker room, that gave him a bad name. I don't like that.
Who wrote that? Was it Athletic?
That was David McMiniman. David McMiniman.
Yeah.
And that's when I was actually pissed off at David McMiniman for a minute too. I was like, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like he accepts it as a professional courtesy, but I don't think he hoists it up in his trophy room or anything like that.
Oh, agreed.
You could see him maybe auctioning it off or something for
1,000%
charity or something. I don't know.
Just something for his community. Yep.
Yeah.
Something for his community. Yep.
I'm just spitballing something out there, maybe a speculation.
But yeah, that. Like once it's his, he can do what he wants with it.
Yep. Yep.
So, the thing that I wish it would have worked out with Russell Westbrook, and yes, we're going down memory lane again. It would have worked with Russell Westbrook if we would have had more shooters to help him. That's the only reason why it did not work, and I was so
agree.
disappointed in that.
Yeah, but then we get into the whole topic is like, do we really build around Westbrook instead of Braun? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
Braun team,
Yeah.
so
That's the whole thing. Is exactly. It's like, and however you look at that, it was always unfortunately a bad fit.
yeah,
That's true.
it was a bad fit, unfortunately. All right, guys. I don't want to. I know everyone got things to do here tonight. Evan, we won't take too much more of your time. KB, we appreciate as always for coming in. Zen, I don't appreciate you for coming in here. No, I'm just playing. I appreciate you for coming in here.
You too.
I just got to give you some shit sometimes. But this is the meeting of the gold mines. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you guys like the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Share it. Follow us on Twitter at Purple and Gold Mines. You can also see us at Playback TV. Playback. What is it? It's
Playback TV
Play.
/ PGM Fan Cave.
There you go. Fan Cave. PGM Fan Cave. Guys, again, please like and share, subscribe, comment. If you don't like us, tell us what we could do better. I appreciate everyone for
And
coming.
you can go
Evan,
fuck yourselves if you don't like us.
That's my Twitter spiel. I'll be a little bit nicer here on YouTube. But you can catch Evan. He is the writer for Lake Show. We appreciate him for coming in. I appreciate you, Evan, for coming in.
Thanks
Again
for having me, guys. Love
yeah, anytime, man.
Always.
Again,
Man.
Purple and Gold Mines. This is the meeting of the Gold Mines. I appreciate you guys one more time. Peace.